Reed, bro, you got any heat?
Nah, dude. I can't afford that, dude. But do you like my...
That's good. Lead the show.
That inferior rapper?
To Drake.
Okay.
Okay, we're going live at 5, 4, 3, 2. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jack Kelly, host of Point to the Spot, a US-based podcast focused on the world of football. As always, joining me today is my entirely bonkers friend, Dimitri Payet. Dimitri, how are you?
Oh, wow.
And once again, joining the show is a future presidential candidate, Ball for Prez 2020, Andrew Ball. Andrew, how are you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for asking. Did the boys have a good weekend this weekend? Breed, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was real good. Yeah, all this free time, I went and saw some friends. Didn't really have much to do. It's nice.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when your team is shit and you don't have any football to watch.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Andrew, you have a good weekend?
I did. I think it sounded like it was a lot more low key than Reed's was, but it was fun. It was a good one.
Yeah, I kind of fall in that same boat. I didn't do much either. But we do know people that did do a lot, and that were the 32 teams that competed in this fourth round proper of the FA Cup. Kind of a mixed bag of results. There were some shockers. And I guess the first of that came in what would have been the early match for those of you residing in North America on Sunday, and that was Liverpool losing to Wolverhampton, losing to Wolves 2-1 at Anfield. I don't know. Jurgen Klopp might feel like he's walking alone a little bit now. Reed, what do you make of Liverpool's just crash out of 2 cup competitions within the span of a few days?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a crash. It's definitely Klopp's fault. There's a lot of criticism that can be placed on him, but Wolves aren't a no-name team, it's not like they went out to Accrington Stanley or Plymouth Argyle, Wolves do have a bit about them. They do have kind of a joint ownership situation with the people who own Benfica. So they've got a lot of Portuguese talent in that team, and they got a bit of money. So Wolves are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the coming years. And I think this is just more of a preview of that.
Yeah, Wolves is quite the side. Obviously, back in 2014, made that big money signing of Ronaldinho from Brazil.
Stop. Jack, you are fake news right now. You are fake news.
No. That's a long-running joke between Reed Hammond, the Djiboutian manager of Wolverhampton, a long FIFA career mode. Moving along in some of these results. I know Liverpool did lose, but there's not too much to talk about. They just kind of flat out got beaten.
Well, they keep doing this where they get 70% of the possession. And, they did this in the League Cup kind of too, where they just, really, they held the ball a lot and just couldn't do anything with it. And, you never really got the feeling that they were super dangerous in this game, even though they're playing a championship side that they should beat. It was just, they really weren't in it. And that's kind of the problem for Klopp, is they're not looking competitive in games that they should be. And that sounds obvious, but a lot of the times the issue is, you can see the quality. It's there, the chances are there. It's just a matter of time. But Liverpool are just not even close to that at this point, I don't think.
Yeah, you do have to give some credit to Wolves, though. They kind of came out and punched Liverpool in the mouth, scoring inside of the first minute. Obviously, that was a good headed goal from Stearman. And then just their second goal in the 41st minute was just picturesque counterattacking football. It was nothing more than a simple square ball around the keeper and tap in. So you do have to give credit to Wolves. Obviously, Liverpool is going to be getting a bit of a boost. And I bet Jurgen Klopp is paying for the flight himself, as Senegal got knocked out of the African Cup of Nations in a shootout. Sadio Mane actually missed in the shootout.
You really wanted to go back to Liverpool, eh?
And so he will probably already be on his way back to Northern England so that he can join in on the fun for their Tuesday headliner game against Chelsea.
And I think Mane's addition can't be overstated, because Klopp had to really rearrange his tactics to deal with Mane's absence, moving Adam Lallana around into a position that he does not normally play. So you can argue that they're a bit out of sync because of that. Still, you really should be beating Wolves.
No, absolutely.
Fair play to Wolves. I mean, they came out, they played well, but if you're Poole, you should still be beating them.
Yeah. Hold on. I think all the credit does need to go to Wolves here, but it kind of does show that long heralded flaw of Klopp's system, and of if you let him hold the ball, he doesn't really know what to do with it. And I think that's where the absence of Mane really comes in, because he is that kind of direct infusion of forward play. You know what I mean? Like, he can run with something and cause problems, whereas I feel like a lot of the team that went out there was kind of built around letting other people through off the break, which just didn't really ever come.
And I mean, Mane, this is a part of the game that a lot of people don't give him credit to, can hold the ball up fairly well for not being the biggest of players. Obviously, I think adding him back into the side, which I'm sure they're going to do instantly, he's not going to be short on match. Yeah, he's not going to be short on match fitness. He did get to play 3 matches.
Chelsea.
Yeah, so they play Chelsea on Tuesday. We do have a flurry of games to get through, though, so we're just going to run through a couple of scorelines quick. Not much to say. Blackburn down to Blackpool 2-0. Of course, football fable alum Blackpool crashing out once again. Chelsea 4, Brentford 0. Not much to talk about in this one. Chelsea dominant right from the get-go at the Bridge. Middlesbrough 1, Accrington Stanley 0. I mean, Premier League teams scrape it together and get through past these 4th division sides.
Yeah, Borough, I mean, given that so many Premier League teams have crashed out, good on Borough. It'd be kind of nice to see them put a little run together, and they're probably not going down. They're probably not going to do much better than where they currently are in the table, though. So FA Cup is a way to kind of wrap a bow on their season and, push for some silverware.
Definitely something good to pull from for them. A big game, though, that we should mention is God's team, Newcastle United, crashed out in a trip to Oxford as they lose to Oxford United 3-0. Of course, this is especially exciting for one Reed Hammond, because a West Ham youth product actually got his senior debut and scored a goal in this. Is that right, Reed?
Yeah, it's actually really weird. His name's Tony Martinez, and I think he's about 20. And he came through Valencia's youth product or youth system, and he didn't really break it through. They didn't really rate him, but he came this summer, and there was a lot of talk about him. And he's been doing magic in the Premier League too. Like, you guys just go on YouTube and find his highlights. Like, he does these crazy. I remember one game, a ball was played over the top, and he just smacked it across goal. It's beautiful, and he's. I think you can describe him as every West Ham supporter's favorite West Ham player that's never actually played.
Obviously, kind of a big loss for Newcastle, but just shows you how much Rafa Benitez does not care about anything besides coming back to the Premier League. Moving on, Rochdale got downed 4-0 by Huddersfield Town. Big ups to Huddersfield Town. It is fun to see these 4th division teams making a little push in the cup. Manchester City 3. Crystal Palace 0. City once again enjoying a trip to London in the FA Cup. Obviously, they romped against West Ham last time out in the competition.
Lest we forget.
Yes. And then maybe this weekend's big winners: Lincoln City 3, Brighton Hove Albion 1. The imminent Premier League side, Brighton, gets downed by a non-league team. Reed, what do you make of the Red Imps of the 5th division kind of making a push here?
I do want to make a quick correction. Huddersfield Town is in the championship. But no, I feel like every year you at least hope that one of these teams makes a run like this. And they are a good club. They do have a bit about them. They're not, out of nothing. They do have a bit of history behind them. So it's nice, And I think there's a lot of financial bonuses that come with this, and it'll really help them continue the good work they're doing. Everyone likes to root for guys like these.
Yeah, it is a fun story. Of course, I'm rooting for Arsenal to draw Lincoln City at the Emirates.
And I will be rooting for Lincoln City to slay the Giants.
I mean, it'll be. I think they're not going to make it past this next round, but it is good for them because they get that financial boost of going to play at the Emirates because, everything's split 50-50. They're going to get half of that. And a lot of the time when these little clubs come to play, the Premier League sides are just nice and give them everything for the match. I know United loves to do that, which is kind of surprising because the egotistical Manchester United needs every dollar they can get to pay for Paul Pogba's haircuts.
Well, and another thing to Lincoln City here, I mean, they beat Brighton, who are almost certainly seemingly going to be playing in the Premiership next year.
Oh yeah.
They showed a lot of quality in the championship. This is a good win for Lincoln City. I mean, not that they've shown they can get it done, but maybe they could hang with the Premier League team.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see them making it past the next round either. But
if they get a favorable matchup, maybe the gods, aka the FA, will rig something up and we'll get a Lincoln City Sutton United matchup.
That would be fun.
I'd
watch that. Fox will probably put it on FS1.
The English footballing giants that are Burnley have continued their good run of form. Burnley 2, Bristol City 0. Obviously, this is another good result for Burnley. They're a team that might stir the pot a little bit in the cup. I mean, not too much to say. They were playing Bristol, but they got the job done. Vokes grabbed another goal for them. We'll move on now to we have God's team, and then we have the Devil's team, and that would be Tottenham Hotspur 4, Wycombe Wanderers 3. And even you, as a Spurs fan, you have to feel like Wycombe was a little hard done in this one.
Yeah, I feel for Wycombe. I mean, you look at the statistics and you look at, say, expected goals, and Spurs were the better side here. At the same time, you don't put 3 past the Premier League side by accident. So Wycombe, I did feel kind of bad for them because Spurs did not play like they should have gone through. But the magic of the cup.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Wycombe. They came to
White Hart Lane
and got 3 goals.
They did themselves very proud. I mean,
oh yeah.
In their style of play, maybe not so much. They were very cynical. They fouled a lot of bookings here. But, they did well. Spurs did not have the quality. And part of it, I think, and this is kind of underrated when you have cup matches, is Mauricio Pochettino did what you should do and tried it out a very rotated side to give some guys like George Kevin and Kudu, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Harry Winks match time. The problem when you do that is you have a bunch of guys who don't play with each other ever playing with each other, and there's just not that cohesion, whereas for Wycombe, they're not going to make it to the FA Cup final. This is their FA Cup final. They're away to a top side.
Oh, yeah.
Give me 110%. Complete, cohesion from that side. That being said, and Pochettino said this after the match, that's no excuse. You should still beat them, and you should still beat them handedly. But you saw some kind of pains where, when you trot out 11 guys who aren't necessarily starters and don't normally play with each other, you run the risk of seeing some kind of lag. And we saw that in the first really 60 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, good on Tottenham. They did get the job done. Pochettino, of course, put in a couple of the big guns in Dele Alli and Son.
Son started.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, good run out for the Korean. But, I mean.
Hold on, yeah. Yeah, no.
Reed's favorite word, resilience, comes to mind.
No, 2 quick things on there real quick. The first one being there's actually a video of the FA Cup draw of the Wycombe players watching the draw, and they went nuts when they saw Tottenham. I think that's such an underplayed narrative is how big of a deal playing these big teams are for these, lifelong lower league footballers. That was their dream growing up, playing Tottenham away. But more interestingly, Cameron Carter-Vickers, the American, has been described as the head of Spurs Youth Academy as the player that he would most trust with his life. They rate him very highly, and I would keep an eye out for that man making some major plays next season.
They do, although I will say he had an absolutely terrible match yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty bad penalty. Kind of looked out of sync early. Got together a bit by the end, but he is definitely one of our top prospects. And I mean, Posh rated him higher than Kevin Vimmer at the beginning of the year in terms of in the year.
No, and that's kind of what it's very Pochettino too. They always say that he sends out the kids that he doesn't really rate out on loan, and he keeps the kids that he likes close to hand. And I think this is a good sign. A bad man, but it's a battle win the war kind of a situation.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, it's encouraging to see Tottenham not just murder the career of an American in Europe, kind of like they did to DeAndre Yedlin. But we'll move on to the final match of Saturday's game. And I actually gave this predicted scoreline of 4-0 to Andrew yesterday morning. Ended up being 5 just with the cherry on top. not much to talk about here. Exciting for Danny Welbeck, of course, bagging 2 goals in his first start since being 10 months out. And an assist, yeah. Looked really sharp, kind of came into it, especially in the second half, good hold-up play. He wasn't afraid to turn, take somebody on, make that important pass. Same can be said to Walcott. He was definitely, of course, bagged a hat trick. But even earlier on in the match, working hard, tracking back, winning the ball, tracking back all the way to zone 18, which is uncommon for a guy that was once a striker, now being played out on the wing. He made some difficult passes. There's one in mind in particular. He thread the ball through on the ground, probably, 30 yards perfectly between Van Dijk and Southampton's left back. I do not know his name. But it was a wonderful ball through to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who was also terrific in this one. And so it's good to see that, these youngish English talents.
Theo Walcott's young.
He's
been young for like 8 years.
Yeah. He's still only 26, like 27 now.
That's not young.
No, yeah. But it is cool to see these Southampton products just piping them down.
Yeah, it is fun for to see that these young guys, or not young guys, but these English guys who kind of have fallen out of the pecking order at some point in their career at Arsenal, playing well. I think that Walcott has actually been fantastic this season. He's bagged 14 goals, 2 assists in just 22 games for the club.
Do you think this will earn him more minutes?
I think he could get some more minutes. I think it's tough right now because obviously Giroud is just out of his skin. Welbeck is now back in the lineup and is obviously he's played well in his 3 appearances. Obviously, we have the untouchable saint, Jesus Christ resurrected himself, Alexis Sanchez, who just can't be touched. I don't know. Arsenal look like a good team. And this is a big win, especially because, they play Watford in the midweek, which, could be a test. Watford has been a pretty decent side so far this season. But I think this was like the kind of springboard game that Arsenal needs because it's going to set them up well. If they get a good win against Watford, then, obviously Chelsea at the Bridge on the weekend. One thing I would like to turn over to those who may be listening on Twitter, let us know at Point to the Spot, of course, that's the number 2. I openly say this with dear sincerity, is that Alexis Sanchez is easily a top 4 player in the world. And besides Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and Luis Suarez, I don't know if I would want anybody else on my team, even Neymar included in that. I think I'd rather have Sanchez than Neymar just for work rate alone. I do love Alexis. Good God, do I love that man. But we did play, we didn't play, but there were some matches played on God's day, if you will. Today, let's talk about the Sunday matches now. Millwall, of course, a Champions League side, knocking out Watford 1-0 in this early one. Reed's got some thoughts about this, apparently. I guess Reed has nothing to say about this one. Andrew, what do you make of it? Okay, go ahead, Reed.
No, Millwall are shit, mate. They don't deserve this.
Andrew, what do you make of this championship team knocking out a Premier League side late on once again?
Reed, did you have something else to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add in that Jack is continuing to spurt this alternative fact narrative, and Millwall are in League One because they're shit.
When did they? What?
I think they went down.
They've been in Millwall. They've been in League One for like 2 seasons because they're returning to the central theme of this podcast. Millwall are shit. They're also losing their stadium. And I kind of feel bad for him, but couldn't happen to a better bunch.
What do you make of this, Andrew?
Not great from Watford.
Not great from Watford, indeed. Obviously, wasn't much to talk about this one. This was much too early to get up and watch for us residing in North America. Perhaps a big one and kind of disappointing for Marco Silva's side. Fulham 4, Hull City 1. Hull just getting trounced once again. Not going well for they beat United but crashed out of the League Cup. Not going well for the Tigers.
I'd still say they stay up.
I don't know. I like them. They've got a favorable run of games once they're past, of course, having to play United, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Their run-in is very good. And, they don't really need to worry about the FA Cup, frankly. And, it's kind of cynical to say this, and a lot of people are like, the FA Cup doesn't matter anymore. All teams care about is the league. Well, it's Hull City needs to stay up to get that TV deal money. And I mean, fair play to Fulham. You know, when I started following the Premier League, Fulham was a firm mid-table side, you know, challenging potentially for a Europa League spot. So it's nice to see them back in the headlines for something positive.
Yeah, Clint Dempsey and Michael Jackson. That's my association.
Michael Jackson did not play football.
Oh, no, you don't remember that? No. Okay, Fulham used to have a statue of Michael Jackson on their ground.
Oh, that, yes.
Yep.
That was
and
them.
then they got rid of it, and then they went down. And a lot of people blame that as the curse. Yeah,
that's right.
Bring him back.
It's all coming back to me.
Reed, we'll turn to you because you do love these lower league sides because you know life on Football Manager. Sutton United 1, Leeds United 0. This is big for them. Obviously, Sutton knocking off a championship side in Leeds, and I do know they are a championship side. I'm not nuts in this case. What do you make of this?
Oh yeah, no. Leeds used to be one of the big boys. Really, it's a story that's rough with narrative and future football fables. But yeah, no, Sutton are a plucky. To use Andrew's word, plucky side. They want to be here. They don't really have a lot else going on. And I return to the other central theme of this podcast, reminding people that AFC Wimbledon played their first ever match as Sutton United.
That's fun. I mean, fun to see these fifth division teams making it on. Obviously, not a huge probability that we will get a Lincoln City Sutton United showdown, but that would be great. We'll move on to this weekend's final fixture. Manchester United 4, Wigan 0. Of course, Wigan, a recent FA Cup winner when they knocked off Manchester City in the final and then got relegated under Roberto Martinez's fabulous managerial, managing skills, I suppose. I think this goes back to, what year would that have been? 2012?
Yeah,
2013? I think 2012. I think 2012, yeah.
2012 sounds right.
It's been a while since they've been relevant, at least. But they gave United a pretty good game. Wigan is like a formidable enough side. United, I hate to use the word quality, but
they poured it on at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there was no letting it up. Also, kind of fun. Bastian Schweinsteiger getting a goal. Clever finish and also an assist. I don't know if this is a move from Manchester United to try to get the Chicago Fire of MLS to shell out some more money to bring him in or what.
It's not going to happen. He was named in their Europa League squad today also. So it sounds like Basti is sticking around.
Must be.
Can I take this opportunity, though, to rail about how Manchester United get the most ridiculously easy draws from the FA?
Absolutely.
Last year, when they won the FA Cup, they played 2 Premier League sides, and that was in the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Crystal Palace, in turn, played 4 out of their 5 matches against Premier League sides. So, yeah, FA.
Yeah.
Loving, man.
People love to moan when Arsenal won that cup the first time. Arsenal played 5 Premier League sides to win the FA Cup after going trophyless for so long, one of which, of course, was the third round defeat of Tottenham Hotspur 2-0. Which was when Theo Walcott so tragically got injured, but of course, that iconic photo of him getting stretched.
Very iconic. Yes.
Well,
we will wrap up our discussion on the FA Cup.
No, we shouldn't.
Now.
We forget about Leicester. Leicester and Derby.
Oh, they did play on Friday.
And Leicester are shit.
Did you catch any of this game?
I did. Leicester were lucky to get a draw because Derby had absolutely atrocious own goal. And, Leicester are very good right now.
No.
Is the takeaway, I think.
Got lucky. Wes Morgan, who is slow and out of shape and is a horrendous central defender, bagged the 86th minute equalizer for them. And I fully expect Derby to beat them in the second leg because Leicester is fading back into shit obscurity.
And Derby have a lot of quality, I think.
Yeah, they're a good side. They could be coming up to they're in the mix to make one of those championship playoff spots. Now we will wrap up our discussion of the FA Cup. Stick around for part 2 of the show, guys. We have another segment, of course, from Andrew Ball. Ball is Life number 3 is coming at you. And in today's segment, we are going to be discussing Red Bull Leipzig. And it's not actually Red Bull, but we'll call them Red Bull because that's basically what they are. So stick around, guys. We'll be back in just a minute.
Is it onions? Yeah.
I just like that segment was all Jack botching what league all these lower league sides.
I was killing it. Are you for real? Huddersfield Town is the championship side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
they're
swear
actually
I
kind
just
of
fucked
cold.
them in FIFA with Port Vale.
No, they're actually kind of cold.
That's on me. Accrington Stanley's a 4th division side. Though.
Accrington
Oxford
Stanley,
United is-
they describe themselves. Oxford is definitely in League One. No, Accrington Stanley described themselves as the world's biggest small club or something like that. Because they used to be like kind of relevant, and now they're definitely going down to the conference. They're in 20th place in League Two.
That's pretty
Sad.
bad.
Yeah, sad, baby.
Remember Brown
Yeah,
just tweeted
Huddersfield
are
Huddersfield are 5th in the championship, Jack, also. So they could be in the Premier League next year.
Who the fuck knew? Not me.
Me, I knew. Okay, we're doing this balls life.
Why,
Yeah.
you got something to do today?
I gotta shower, get some coffee in me.
Yeah, boy, you stink.
Do some steps somewhere. Yeah,
I can smell you from here.
yeah, smell-o-vision.
Do you like how your big Asian roommate just came in the background?
Yeah, yeah, he was taking a shower,
Naked
and
as
now he's
hell.
getting lunch or something. Yeah.
Oh, this is in the video package.
What's the point of a video pod? Make a YouTube
I have
channel.
no idea.
Exactly.
That's why we're not
We
one.
talked about this. No.
Reed, can you just sing the "We Had Payet" version of this song? Of the song,
And that can be the opener.
Oh my God.
please. You have to look up the lyrics,
Hold
don't you?
I got. I just don't want to get them wrong.
We had Payet, Dimitri Payet. Just don't think you understand. Something bump it up, fucking in a snake. I don't know the words either.
I kind of know them. Here it is. What the fuck? What is happening? What is happening over there?
We don't know.
Okay,
There's mutiny.
It's lit.
The swamp is lit.
I'm playing it real quick.
Is it a YouTube video of it?
The league I really want to watch.
Reed, are you there still?
Northern Irish Premiership.
It's like weird.
They really. Why don't they just consolidate every league in the UK that isn't the Premier League into one league? Like outside of England.
Did you see this?
Oh yeah.
Every terrorist attack carried out U.S. soil since 9/11. That's wild.
What happened? What
What?
happened? Why did I leave?
You got kicked out?
I got kicked off.
Oh, we didn't notice.
You're a dick.
Are you in your? Is it
Are you-
because something with your phone maybe?
Are you guys ready for this? Are you guys ready for this new Payet version? Because I looked up the
Yep.
lyrics.
Yep.
Ready to go.
Fuck off, Payet. Dimitri Payet. Just don't want you anymore. You got some fucking funt. You money grabbing cunt. Fuck off, Dimitri Payet. That's it.
Can you sing it again? You kind of like cut it in and out, and I want the clear audio of it.
Oh my God. Okay. Fuck off, Payet. Dimitri Payet. We just don't love you anymore. You money grabbing cunt. Oh, fuck. I fucked it up now. No, the first version was the only version I had in me.
Is there a YouTube video of it?
Yeah.
Can you send me it?
I
Yeah.
think we should do the botch.
I'll put it in
version.
myself.
Do not put the botch version up. If you guys put the botch version up, I'm going to go on strike.
No.
And then
Oh,
leave
that
to
would be a real
France.
loss.
Oh.
The YouTube version is actually kind of good. So I'll link you that after the pod. All right. Can we do this balls life or no?
Yeah. Okay. Read
Christ.
hungry.
I'm just
Andrew,
interested.
you're back in 5, 4. Read mute yourself. 3, 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This is Andrew Ball coming at you with the third week of a segment that we are calling Ball is Life, a look into the politics of global soccer. This week, we traveled to Germany, specifically Leipzig, the home of the side sitting second place in the Bundesliga, within striking distance of Bayern Munich. Rasenball Sport Leipzig, aka Lawn Ball Leipzig, aka Red Bull Leipzig. Now, RBL has been the subject of much controversy in Germany. While they possess some of the brightest young stars in Europe, including Timo Werner, Naby Keita, and American Terrence Boyd, and as I mentioned earlier, they are posing a legitimate threat to Bayern Munich in this year's title race. They're still kind of the bête noire. They're reviled by the vast majority of German football fans. And this is because of something which may be foreign to a lot of you who are not familiar with the German leagues, and that's called the 50+1 rule. That statute in league regulations requires that every Bundesliga side must control over 50% of the club in an effort to restrict the ability of an outside agency, be that an energy drink maker, the nation of Qatar, or a wealthy billionaire, from controlling the club. And because in Germany, the fans essentially operate the clubs, that means that the 50+1 rule ensures that the club's members have a majority of say in how the club is run. There are two exceptions to this rule, and those are Bayer Leverkusen and Wolfsburg, which, because of longstanding history and tradition, are owned by Bayer Pharmaceuticals and Volkswagen, respectively. But nevertheless, fans at both of these clubs still have most of the say over what goes on. And this is in contrast to Leipzig, which does not technically run afoul of the 50+1 rule, because it is possible to join the fan organization which, quote unquote, runs the club. The issue is that membership there costs 800 euros, or over 10 times what it costs to join the same organization at Bayern Munich. So RBL is essentially thumbing their nose at this bylaw. And there also is controversy over how they acquired the team. Instead of starting a club from scratch, they essentially bought and rebranded a local side. I'm going to bash this name, I'm sure, SSV Markranstadt, and entered the 5th division of German football. And yet, for all the ways in which Red Bull Leipzig is seemingly a marketing ploy designed to peddle energy drinks throughout the world, there is an upshot for those of us who love the Bundesliga and want it to be more competitive. Red Bull has set a goal of winning Germany's top flight sometime in the next 7 years. And if you've spent more than 5 seconds in German soccer, you know that this would mean dethroning Bayern Munich, which has won the title every year since the 2011-2012 season, when my beloved Borussia Dortmund won. And a full-fledged challenger to Munich, and a lesser extent to Dortmund, is not at all bad. A rising tide lifts all boats, so to speak, and another major side in Germany could increase the already growing television and sponsorship revenue, as well as lift the league's profile and fill the coffers of every team in the league. And the second piece to this is where we kind of arrive at the political side of this whole debate, because if Red Bull Leipzig were to lift the Bundesliga trophy, they would become the first East German side ever to do so. And East Germany, in fact, has not had a side in the top tier since Leipzig was founded 7 years ago, aside from Hertha Berlin, which does not count because Berlin is special and the exception to pretty much everything in Germany. East Germany kind of has been struggling, or lagging, we'll say, behind the western part of the country since reunification, because you see kind of the primary economic drivers, aside from Berlin, Frankfurt, Munich, Hamburg, are all in the western part of the country. And we've seen problems with the former socialist enterprises and the former government-controlled economy struggling to reintegrate itself into, now that we have our unified Germany. Leipzig is the biggest city in Eastern Germany, aside from the capital of Berlin, with over 500,000 people residing there. So there's definitely a market for an elite team. And this is a side in a region which could badly use any team in the Bundesliga, much less a title challenger. And the residents of Leipzig have actually really responded well. Some of them, those who are not supporters of other lower division sides currently there. The club has sold over 20,000 season tickets in their debut season in the top flight, which is one of the better marks in Germany. And as a fan and a believer in the Bundesliga, I think it's one of the most enjoyable leagues in the world to watch. I'm kind of two minds about this. One of the reasons it is such fun to follow is because I believe that it has the most passionate fans in Europe. Sorry to all the English Premier League fans out there. It isn't really close in my mind. And the accessibility of the clubs to its fan bases is really exceptional. Season tickets to, say, Dortmund or Munich can be had for the same or less than a ticket to one Arsenal or Spurs match. And kind of this team structure for Leipzig kind of weakens these elements by positioning itself above the other clubs and setting this precedent going forward where that could be abused by other teams. That being said, as a Dortmund fan, I want there to be a club year in and year out that can be a rival to Munich, and Dortmund just hasn't really been able to do that consistently lately. And the entire league would benefit from a second major club that would be able to kind of kill off once and for all this perception that the Bundesliga is boring because Bayern inevitably win it. I don't think this is true, but it's kind of understandable that a lot of fans, especially foreign fans and American fans, are kind of predispositioned to this notion that if there's this fait accompli that Munich are going to win it, it can't really be fun, even though there is a lot of competition elsewhere in the league. And that way you get more eyeballs on the league, and Leipzig themselves have actually done pretty well for themselves in constructing an enviable youth system, and they have the money to fund a top-tier team. So maybe this is the side that we've been longing for that can break through and challenge Munich, even though they've kind of done it in this reprehensible way. And bringing top-quality soccer back to Eastern Germany and giving the fans there this deserved top-tier side is a major benefit as well. There will be no shortage of vitriol directed at Rasenballsport Leipzig, which legal is telling me I have to call it. And that will certainly intensify if and when they capture a title, but who doesn't like a villain now and then, eh? So we'd love to hear from all you Bundesliga watchers on the topic of Leipzig. You can tweet us at @PointToTheSpot with the numeral 2. Share your views on whether Leipzig is a plastic club or a needed title challenger in Germany. And now I will throw this over to you two boys and hear what you two have to say on, well, first off, if you watch much Bundesliga, what you know about Leipzig and whether you think that this is a model that is offensive or just kind of the nature of how things are going in global soccer these days.
Yeah, I got 3 things for this. 1, Bundesliga is kind of boring. 1 year, I think it was 2 seasons ago, Bayern won the league with 11 games left. Like, what the hell?
Okay, can I cut in and respond to that? I think that's true that it's boring if you only watch the league for title races. Yeah, I think that the competition for the European spots is fiercer than most any other league in Europe.
There is some good action, but like as a league as a whole, like the most exciting thing last year was watching the title contenders try to chase down Leicester, and it didn't.
That's fair.
Second thing, I'll take a word from my British friends. If you watch any of the fans in Leipzig, like their ultras, scenes, it is a mad ting, as our friends in England would like to say over there. The Leipzig fans are absolutely nuts. They're great. I know that people don't like the club because it's owned by Red Bull, but like they are awesome. Flares, tons of good chants, and they have like, a 10,000 person ultras section. They're jumping up and down, bouncing around, super fun to watch. Third, the thing with Red Bull, like, yes, I understand it breaks the German rules. They've done this in a couple of places that has actually kind of helped soccer globally. I know they plucked this team out of obscurity, and I think they bought them as a 7th division team, pumped a bunch of money into it, enrolled in the 5th division, and then moved up 5 divisions in 7 seasons, which is insane. And it's kind of a cool story, but they did just that. They did take over a little club, had trialists, put money into it, and brought, you know what I mean? There was like some sort of business and like decency, if you will, to it. I think what they did to a club like Salzburg is much worse than what they did here, because they kind of just took over a team that historically had been in the top flight before,
and they kind of considered doing that here. And they approached some teams. They approached like FC St. Pauli, who are actually in the 2nd Bundesliga now, and they talked about that. So I think you're right in that. And I'll throw this over to Reed in a hot sec, but I think you're right in that they went about it in a better way than in Salzburg. I just think that, and you can call this kind of this closed-mindedness of German soccer fans, that they're very set in their ways in terms of tradition and the importance of having this strong fan base and strong kind of traditional base. A lot of fans in Germany hate Hoffenheim, which traditionally have been kind of in the lower rungs of German soccer, but the guy who owns a big software company, SAP, pumped a bunch of money. He didn't take them over. There was no like running afoul of the rules, but he just pumped a bunch of money in, and now they're in the Bundesliga. So like, you could argue that the German fans are in the wrong here too.
Yeah.
Anyway, Reed, what do you have to say?
Yeah, what's your thoughts on this, Reed?
Yeah, no, it's for a while, especially on football Twitter, it's very in vogue to criticize Leipzig and all of them without really kind of fully understanding the story. And I think it's just that kind of conservative nature that kind of comes with football and the love of the tradition behind the game. But it's just it's kind of like, it's almost like the monarchists versus the I draw the conclusion of this is very similar to like the French Revolution, right? Or no, we'll make it this is an American podcast, damn it. This is very similar to the Revolutionary War, right? Where there were the monarchists and they were the supporters of the king, Bayern in this case. And then there was kind of like the revolutionaries who broke a couple rules. They didn't do it in a great way. They were kind of awful people when you kind of dig deep into who they were as people. But they did something kind of cool, and it kind of opened up the floodgates. And I think that's kind of what's happening. Like Bayern, it's hard to call it anything other than a monarchy here, because they're just it was, preordained that they're going to win the league almost every year.
Yeah, and I mean, they are very much still in the driver's seat. Of course, they do have another matchup against Leipzig.
They're only 2 points clear.
Yeah, so that'll come
they
down
haven't
to a
looked
big
very
showdown.
strong lately.
However, we are out of time for the show today. Thank you two very much for joining me. As always, I do love and appreciate your company, so I'm not a single voice talking about things on my own. Of course, we are all available in the world of social media. Reed, where can they find you?
At That One Kid Reed.
And Andrew, where can they find you?
At Andrew Ball, BAHL.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at actual Jack Kelly. I am actually Jack Kelly after all. And of course, make sure that you follow the show at Point to the Spot. Of course, that's with the number 2, as Reed so loves to say. And make sure that you check out our partners on Twitter, AmericanEPLThoughts.com. You can find them on there at American EPL. We will be back on Tuesday for a special episode pod as we take a look at all of the transfers that have come in and out of England in January.
AKA we banter about Dimitri Payet.
Oh, absolutely. And a few others that have happened around in global football. For now, that is all. We hope that you guys enjoyed the show today. And until next time, take care. Read Isabel.